New platform. So we're using Restream now instead of so I'm gonna play our intro, and then Rick, you have the ability, I think, in the upper right hand corner if you want to stream this to your own people, but if not, that's I understand. But I'm gonna play our intro.
Mr. and Mrs. Catholic Comedy doing a show about joy.
That is a very joyful opening.
Yeah, I know. Well, the weird. So on this, I normally it shows me like my viewership, and I can see that generally like how many viewers I have on each platform, but it's only showing me Facebook, and no one watches this on Facebook. So now it just makes me feel sad.
Yeah, Facebook is a bit of a lost cause.
I know, and it's like, why is it showing? Why won't it show me any of the other things? I got to talk to those people because we're doing.
Actually, I left Restream and went back to StreamYard.
Oh yeah, why is that?
I had issues with Restream's recording. Record things, and then I did it like Chris Lawrence. I did a 2.5 hour interview with him, and it didn't save it. So after that, when I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing this anymore."
Well, yeah, I guess everything's gonna have bugs, but so yeah, I mean, I was on StreamYard. I didn't have any real issues with it, and then they were like, "By the way, we think you're a business now, so we're gonna charge you $300 a month." I was like, "But I'm not a business.
You're making zero."
And they're like, "You know what? You know what? We're gonna let you stay as a non-business for the next year, and then we'll move you up." It's like, but what if you just decide to move me up beforehand anyway?
Right.
They made this arbitrary decision. Okay, so we're on this thing now. So that's kind of it. It does allow me to put QR codes that just kind of sit here. So let's see. I can put on the other side. Oh, look at that.
What's that for?
So this thing. So we'll say it at the beginning of this. But if you scan this QR code and do, there's a.
It's a small talk with Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. It's called a financial checkup. So basically, they just kind of ask you where you are financially, where you want to be, and how they could help.
And they give us $150.
And then they donate $150 to our festival. And you don't have to sign up for anything. You just kind of listen to their spiel. Listen to their spiel. And then they donate. But no, they're really nice people, and this is our third year working with them, I think. Second year working with them for the festival,
officially for the festival. So everything they do is quarter based, so it has to be done by the end of this quarter,
so by the end of the month,
right,
in order for it to benefit this next festival,
right? Because if you do it in like January or February or something like that, then it would go towards the end of the next quarter, which is like April, and since the festival's in February, it's not super helpful.
No, that wouldn't be helpful at all, would it?
No.
But since we're doing it now, if anybody who's not in Arizona does it, then we'll put your name on a donor board as a thank you and give you a shout out at the festival. And if you are in Arizona, you will get a free family ticket to the festival for doing it. So everybody in your household.
And if you're not in Arizona, but plan it to be in Arizona in February.
Also free tickets.
So
I
have some background music. Let me see if this is.
It never works. It's distracting.
You're distracting.
I am distracting.
Oh, hey, you know what? Maybe it's just waiting. Maybe we don't have any viewers because now it's giving me a YouTube count of one person and still a Facebook count of 0.
One whole person. Hi, one person. We appreciate you.
And then we also have a chat here that we can show on the stream. And so when comments are shown, they'll show up here. I don't know.
Well, I believe you promised the people discussions about strawberry jam.
Yes. No. So jam in general. We know you, Rick Barrett. You are most well known for your great podcast talking about jams and jellies. So I just wanted to take a moment. Homesteading, canning, jams and jellies. So I just wanted to take a moment to ask you about like your favorite jams. Jam.
Now, so I mean, I'm a strawberry guy. It's very simple. It's just strawberry jam. Doesn't matter the producer or the manufacturer. Not a big fan of grape jelly. More of a fan of just strawberry in general. You know, but they have these new Reese's peanut butter cups where they have the Reese's and then like they did peanut butter and then strawberry filling. It's not jam, but like strawberry. So they did like a PB&J Reese's cup. Don't like the grape, I like the strawberry. So that kind of tells you my direct.
Good? It sounds good.
Oh, it's delicious. I mean, of course it is. It's terrible for you. So
I saw Reese's peanut butter cup. It was like with Oreos, made with real Oreos, and I'm like,
not fake.
I mean, I feel like you couldn't use the word Oreo in the marketing if it wasn't made with Oreo.
Made with fake Oreos. It's Kaleidos or whatever. Kaleidos.
Oh yeah.
It was and then there was
but a sandwich cookie.
Well, no, because there's the original because hydroxo. The hydroxo. Oh, we lost your video. That's
I'm here.
What hydroxy or biscuits were what they were originally called. So oddly enough, an Oreo is not an Oreo. An Oreo is like they stole the idea from Hydrox biscuit. However, Hydrox biscuit is not a fantastic name for a cookie.
It sounds chemical.
Well, that was like in the 50s though, because like
when chemicals were cool and in.
Yeah, chemicals were cool. Chemicals were
make everything out of plastic, margarine, and seed oils.
Well, that was the thing. That was what everyone wanted. Like it was like, you know what? This was made by science. So
well, his grandmother makes these mushrooms every year for Thanksgiving, and it's just like a giant pot with oil and mushrooms. And I love mushrooms. And until like 2 years ago, I had no problems with any other kinds of oils. And then I found out that she just put like a gallon of canola oil in the pot and would throw in mushrooms and cook them that way. And I was like, yeah.
That's totally fine.
But that's that's how she grew up. It was like everything switched over to, the canola and the margarine and so those were the recipes from that time. So you think the trad, it's like, oh, let's go with the traditional recipes. Like, some of that.
Here's a can of Frisco.
And maybe go further back than the 50s and go back to like lard.
Well, it's like it was like after World War II, right? And so World War II, you had a huge problem because everyone was rationing, right? They're rationing everything. So if you could make
even jelly,
well, so if you could make a cookie without using butter, right? And like that was a good idea because you needed to ration all of your butter. And so that was kind of the big deal. It's like, okay, so World War II is rationing. Then afterwards it was like, it was made by science, not by nature. So clearly it's better. Science is better than nature. Like God doesn't know what he's doing, but like
Impossible burgers would have done well back in the 50s.
They 100%.
Look at Spam.
Yeah. It was like, this is.
I've actually never had Spam.
Really?
I've never had
it. It's fine. There's nothing really to write home about. It's great for preppers, but outside of that, and Hawaiians love them.
Hawaiians love Spam.
They do. It's like a staple of their diet.
Yeah, but I mean, because it's like it's cheap and perishable food. What?
Just get the light on. We're dark.
I am dark. Yes, but now I'm gonna be loud while I try to figure this thing out. There's a thing.
We have one of those like circle lights.
Well, I have. If you look at my glasses.
Yeah, I can see your glasses. Yeah.
I always thought that was weird when you'd see like on podcasts, you see that in people's glasses, and it's like, what's going on with your eyes?
It's only weird if it's right over the pupil, though.
Yeah. Mine are like not. Yeah. Just looks like a bad pair of glasses.
So what's your favorite use for strawberry jam?
Oh, just peanut butter and jelly all day, every day.
All day.
Do you ever put anything else in a peanut butter and jelly, or are you a purist?
I'm a purist, but I also from the Northeast, so I have a sweet spot for the fluff. Peanut butter and fluff. So there
Fluffernutters.
Yeah. If the occasion calls, yes, I will go with the fluff. But no, I don't put anything else in the peanut butter and jelly. Just a lot of peanut butter, a lot of jelly, and that's it.
Ketchup, of course.
Ketchup. No. When I was a kid, I used to experiment with peanut butter and jelly. I love putting like I try it like with Cheetos in it or potato chips.
I can't get around. I just can't.
What you don't
Adds
put
crunch.
you don't put peanut butter jelly in potato chips. You could do peanut butter and potato chips, but you don't add
No,
jelly.
you do. You do it with both. Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it was good as a kid. I don't think I need it now. When I was a kid, I was like, I've
the front
discovered
to all that is good and beautiful.
you know a couple things about like canon law, and I don't think you're a canon lawyer, but you know a few things. Is that something that qualifies for an annulment right there?
It is. Vatican II. It was put into Vatican II documents. It wasn't before. And pre-Vatican II, you had to stick it out. But post-Vatican II, you absolutely peanut butter and like potato chips or any kind of abysmal food choices is grounds for an annulment.
I think there was a clause in there though with proximity to giving birth as to whether
once conception, once the soul has entered, then you get a 9-month mulligan essentially.
Yeah, so you have 4 days left before you can.
I don't. Well, I think you probably would have in the first 7 children. Probably like that's when any of those 7. I think by the time you hit 8, they're kind of like no more mulligans, man. You clearly.
I don't know.
You chose her.
If you're producing life, then you know they get the whatever clause when they're producing. So. I know that whole circle of life thing, man. It's a killer.
You're married, aren't you? Or are you not married? You are married. You have kids?
No.
No? Okay, but you are married.
Yeah, married for 18 years.
18 years.
That's
wow.
Impressive.
That's a lot of years.
It's nice to hear.
That is a lot of years. You're right. You're right. That is a lot of years.
That's 5 more than me.
Mm-hmm.
Been married 13.
I find that my wife and I have been married longer than most of the people we know. Yeah, because
isn't that true though? It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's society. Like we our marriage goes. So my wife's mother has my wife's mother has
mother-in-law.
Yeah, my wife. Whatever. her mother has been married on and off for like.
She's in her 4th marriage.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
assuming they're still married, we don't talk.
Assuming, we'll see, maybe
we'll see. I know there was a moment where he had found like one of her old accounts and it had her maiden name on it, and he's like, I think she got divorced. I'm like, well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, it makes Thanksgiving, interesting every year because you just don't know. You don't.
Well, we don't invite them over to Thanksgiving though, and that's part of it.
Oh well, that's.
My family is kind of like we rejoined the church back in 2018, and we started really researching. So before that, stop clicking on stuff. You're making everything weird. Before that,
it's like the John Hamm meme in this place.
I was just getting rid of a bunch of extra tabs that I had open.
So many tabs. So before we came back to the church, I was really involved in church before I met him. I wanted to be a nun. But my faith was completely based on emotions. So I grew up in a really rough household, and it was like my escape, and God was my safe space. And then I met him, and he became my safe space. And he was a fallen away Catholic. I wound up falling away because I didn't have the logic behind it. I didn't have the knowledge behind it, a proper education. So when it was like, no, you can't do X, Y, or Z, I'm like, that doesn't make sense emotionally. So
yeah.
But we came back and we started researching, and then within 2 years, we wound up at the TLM and everything, and learning and still learning today. But it makes people mad when we learn and then we apply what we learn to our lives and people get upset. So family, at least my family, very much has kind of fallen by the wayside because now we're seen as horrible, stuck up.
Yeah.
Oh well, my cousin recently got married, and like his wife. So the question of whether or not he's a baptized Catholic is up in the air, but his wife definitely was, and they were going through pre-Cana, and then it was just like it would take too long to go through it, and so they dropped out, and because he lived in Flagstaff, she lived down here.
They lived like 2 hours apart.
They lived 2 hours apart, so it was just.
So they just went ahead with the civil wedding.
Right. They went ahead with the civil wedding, and it was literally less than a mile from our house is where they had the civil wedding. And so my family was really mad at me. Like, why didn't you go to this wedding? Like, because we can't. It's not a valid marriage. Like, why isn't it valid marriage? You got married. Like, we got married the wrong way. Like, yeah, everyone
and then we fixed it.
Like, everyone went to your marriage, even though it was invalid. Like, yeah, you shouldn't have. Because if you hadn't, maybe we would have done the right thing the first time.
Yeah. I've seen that firsthand, and you know, I've actually recently participated in, not participated, but I've attended. Actually, no, I didn't. No, I did go to the marriage. It was a marriage up in Rhode Island. One of my nephews got married outside in one of these places. Yeah, I did it, and you know, I just kind of observed it and did it really because for family and so forth. But yeah, I'm one of those bad people. I've done it. I've unfortunately I've gone through it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think it's such a balancing act. So for us, the thing is my mother entered into her 4th marriage, and I was speaking to my priest at the time, and this was years ago, speaking to our priest at the time, and I was like, he's like, you can't go to that wedding. I was like, I can't? Like, I had no idea. And he was like, no, you can't. I was like, okay, then I'll just go to the reception. He's like, you can't go to that either. And
you cannot celebrate
what?
sin.
I was like, so then do I just send her a gift? He goes, no, you can't do that either. And so that was like
after number 4, I get it. The church might not be really big on number 3 or 2 or
right. Well, so it was, and like, well, so yeah, I mean, you know, I think part of it is, he said that we have a very traditional priest. So, yeah, when we went to him, he was like, you cannot. Like, why can't we go? He's like, because it's a mockery of marriage. It's not a real marriage. It's her 4th marriage. You cannot go. She could get those other ones annulled and then go through pre-Cana and get married in a church.
Have her contact me. I'll help her.
She did not take him up on the offer.
No, she did not.
Well, I would not go to a. This was back before I reverted. A guy I was close with up in DFW. He was a Baptist, because you're in Texas, so it's Baptist for miles. I was the best man at his first wedding, and then he got divorced, and then when he got remarried, he asked me to be the best man at his second, and I was like, I have a really bad track record as your best man, so I don't know why you're asking me to do it. I mean, I did it, but that's before my reversion.
We do all sorts of stuff.
I would have told him if I was, where I am now, like, bro, I can't participate in your second marriage, homie. But yeah, so it's
right. And then we're all
those interesting things.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things was that, like, we do this Catholic comedy thing and we put on this Catholic festival, and if we actually would have a really strong chance of scandal. Like, it's like, oh, well,
because it's a big local event the wedding was actually held not far from where that event is normally held. So it's
people be like, oh, well, the comedies think that it's okay to get married outside of the church. It's like, I don't want people to think that, because I think, I'm not a theologian, so like, I don't want people to follow what I say generally, but then people will be like, follow what I do, because if I do something, it gets complicated and difficult, and
people are going to nitpick no matter what.
That's true.
People, especially in the Catholic sphere, it's impossible to please anybody.
Are you trying to tell me that sometimes Catholics can be like scrupulous or picky?
I think you can definitely remove the word sometimes.
I think in most cases you can remove the word sometimes.
I think sometimes is the only word that's not applicable in that sentence.
Yeah.
And I think most people in social media has been a blessing and a curse for Catholicism, because it's been able to spread, we've some really good people been able to spread it, but allowing anybody to be able to pick up a microphone and kind of read through the catechism and be like, well, based on your circumstances, you're in violation of this canon law or this canon law, but and the judgment. And of course, they'll hide behind you have to rebuke the sinner. It's one of the 7 virtues, or it's one of the 4 cardinal virtues. It's one of those. It's not the virtues, but it's one of the things that the Holy Spirit gives you.
It's
a work of mercy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a corporal work of mercy. That's correct.
It's a corporal work of mercy, not a spiritual.
They'll be like, well, I'm rebuking the sinner. It's like, thanks, but I don't really know if.
But there's ways to do it though. Ways to do it tactfully and with love.
Right. Like if I walk up to someone on the street and I'm like, "Hey, you're a sinner, you jerk."
Right, slap him right across the face.
Yeah.
Beat him up on the playground.
That's allowed. But what's not allowed, no.
What's not allowed is behind closed doors, privately conversing with each other.
I think the thing that we have the biggest issue with, like as the Catholic society, is filial correction and how to properly do it. Right? It's like I noticed that let's say that I noticed you did something wrong. Okay, and I'm not saying you did, but let's say I did. Like you said or did something that was improper, and I was like, I should correct him. The proper way for me to correct you would be for me to attempt to contact you personally and offer you correction. It's the improper way would be for me to do a YouTube video on whatever thing. If you posted a video that had an issue, like do a YouTube video on your video as a response to your video and rebuke you publicly. And like people don't understand why. Like everything in the church says, it's not just because of like some arbitrary rule, but it's because like I took a class on argumentation, and when you confront someone, they get defensive. So when you post a giant video talking about someone's flaws, instead of coming back to Christ, what they do is they put up a wall and like, no, I'm going to fight against this. All right, like you said that I'm being sinful. I'm going to fight against you. That's just the human nature, right? Like if I told you that like you're wearing that Pirates hat, I believe it's a Pirates hat, but if I was like
a Red Sox hat.
Okay, you're wearing a Red Sox hat, right?
Yeah, it's a super deep cut.
So if I were to like say something against the Red Sox, like on this podcast, you'd be like, no, the Red Sox are great because I'm wearing.
You don't know me. I know. I'm being a jerk.
Or if I said that that was a stupid hat, you'd be like, I'm gonna wear this hat anyway. Like this is my favorite hat. Like, even if you hated the hat, my calling it a stupid hat would be like, no, this is a great hat. I love this
double
hat.
Down.
Yep. People naturally are defensive. Of course.
Right. And so like when you go to someone, you say, hey, I don't like this thing that you are doing. Personally, I could say, hey, Rick, what's up with the hat? Be like, you know what? I really don't like this hat, but I'm kind of just wearing it anyway. I'm like, well, get rid of the hat. And you're like, okay. But if I post a YouTube video about how dumb your hat is, like Tim Pool's never taken off that beanie because everyone makes fun of him for it. And he's like, no, this is my thing. Yeah. Like that's just what's going to happen. Like, it doesn't matter. And like the people who you argue with, like, I don't know, like I respect Mr. Casey so much. Mr. and Mrs. Casey, Mr. Casey, he spends, if you don't follow him, he spends all day.
I think I do. I think I've seen him on X. Yes, Mr. Casey. Yep.
Yeah, he spends all day just refuting arguments that Protestants make. Right? It's like, well, like the farming and Jesus, is that what her thing?
Oh, yeah, that girl.
Right, but like she's never
like every Catholic knows who that is.
She's never going to change or going to become a Catholic because her only experience really with Catholics is people she's debating online. And it's like everyone, and whenever you attack her, she's just going to double down on whatever her stance is, no matter how wrong she is. Even if you point out she's wrong, you've done it publicly.
Even if she has seen the error in her ways, she's not going to,
because she'd have to then
say anything.
It takes a lot of humility to be able to come out after being publicly attacked and say that you're wrong. Like, and that's like privately, it's a lot less humility because you're only being humiliated in front of one person if it's done privately. Yep. Being humiliated in front of tens of thousands of people, which luckily will never happen on this podcast because we're not going to hit.
Usually on any podcast I'm on, you can be very comforted knowing that tens of thousands of people will not be watching it.
Fair.
This conversation reminds me of the HBO miniseries John Adams, and there's a scene where John Adams, I think he gets into it with one of the members from Pennsylvania, and he calls him a Pennsylvania Quaker and all this other kind of stuff there, which is like really offensive at the time. And Franklin pulls him into the bar, and he goes, "Listen, if you're going to insult somebody, do it in private. Half the time they'll thank you, and half the time they might even respect you for it." So, it's really, that's kind of a motto. I don't do it well, but I try to live by. by that kind of motto.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's always calling me out too, because like I'll have friends say on Facebook and they'll post something like around Halloween, especially, and I see a Catholic going very like
Just let it go.
extreme
You don't need to
in
go into
one
personal
direction or
examples.
another, and it's like, and I'll tell him, I'm like, yeah, this is what I responded. He goes, delete it now, send her a message or him a message or whoever it is, like send them a message, delete your post.
What I tell her is like, if she's like, she'll sit there and she'll have her phone out and she'll be like, this is what I said in response, and she'll read the whole thing like, you know what I would have said? What? Nothing. Yeah, I would have said nothing. Because it's not the place. There was a time when she got into it with one of her friends and like really into it over something dumb, and she came in. I was in the middle of like a marathon of work thing. There was a thing I had to get done for work, and I had to marathon it. Like, and she walked in. She sat for a full hour talking about her argument with her friend, and it was just like you don't publicly chastise anyone. If you publicly chastise someone, then you have to be prepared to lose that friend. Like, you can't publicly chastise a friend and expect everything to be fine. And yet people publicly chastise me about the coffee thing all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not fair.
You're still friends with them. So
I am, but
good on you.
That's because you have to be exceedingly humble to be able to.
The most humble ever.
The most Moses was more humble than I am, and I know that because he said so. So there's that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's talk about the coffee thing. That's just.
Yeah, we have to talk about it. We don't.
We don't. It's fine.
You know it. You know the truth.
No. I do know the truth, and I think it's silly.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I was talking to a friend of mine who does like sketches with me sometimes.
Yep.
And so he was doing a sketch, and we haven't actually finished the sketch yet, but he recorded his lines. And he's like, I ad-libbed for the second half. And so the second half is him ad-libbing. And he goes, I don't understand what your problem is. It's just bean water. It's just bean water. What's the big deal? Nobody cares. And so I sent him a message like, I feel like you were venting a little frustration into this. He's like, it's just bean water, Steven. Cut it out. So, yeah. But I'm not.
The cow just knocked something over outside.
The cow did just knock something over outside.
The wonderful sounds of nature is it could be dead quiet upstairs here in our room, and our windows are open, and you just hear a stream of water, and you go, did we leave? Oh no, it's the cow. The cow is delivering a stream of water. You make of that what you will. Or sometimes the cow makes pies, and you just hear them hit. It's just, they're not jelly pies, though. No,
I don't think that. Those are not the kind of pies people really are looking for.
No,
really.
Especially not this time of year.
Well, I mean, you could be using it for your compost pile, and that you could be looking at it for that. So, but hey, we should probably talk about things that are more interesting to people
or relevant to what he actually does.
Relevant to what you actually do. What kind of jokes do you like to do? What are your favorite kinds of jokes?
Sarcastic deadpan.
No, that's good. I like sarcastic.
One of the things my wife constantly and she compliments me on is that, whatever the good Lord decided not to bless me with, being tall or handsome or having even hair, he did bless me with an incredible wit and the ability to retort or make a reference or make some kind of witty, sarcastic remark. So I think hard sarcasm is probably my comedy of choice, even though they say it's anger's little cousin, and that's probably true. But I would have to say sarcasm, and more deadpan than anything else.
Deadpan's good. Deadpan is difficult to pull off in a comedy because, like, that deadpan is when you have deadened yourself to the joke itself and let other people appreciate the joke.
Yeah. If you're dead inside, it helps.
It does. It does definitely help. But you're not dead inside because you are one of them Catholic folk who do Catholic things.
That's right.
So you have a podcast, and we should talk about that at least a little bit.
Yes.
And it's dedicated to jams and jellies.
Yes, that's right. Very, very unknown. It's a very lesser known podcast that
Niche.
yes, it's niche in every sense of the word. So niche that I didn't even know that it existed until right about now. But not I mean, if it's just overall eating, then yes, there's definitely podcasts there. But I've done a couple of them. I find myself growing more. I don't want to say jaded, but um, seeing the podcast space oversaturated, the podcast space kind of being on its last legs. There's been a golden age about 10 years of podcasting, right? People had their podcasts, people had all kinds of things that were out there, and they did very well for themselves. But I think, we're seeing we've already plateaued in the podcast space. And I think within the next couple of years, it's going to be much it's not going to be as in vogue as it is now because AI is going to take over most of these spaces. Just with AI slop and things like that, YouTube's going to pretty much turn over its entire platform, entire catalog to AI stuff. Rumble will still have stuff, Getter will still have stuff, but podcasting in general, it's also I find that outside of podcasts like yours, which are kind of dedicated to more uplifting topics and trying to actually have decent conversations. Most podcasts nowadays are just rage bait, and they're just vehicles for people to just scream about things and not really offer solutions, but complain about stuff. And so it's, I started out doing the daily mag dump, which was a firearms one 2 years ago. That didn't really go anywhere. Then I switched to Rick Cast, which was a daily show, and that really didn't catch that much, so now I'm doing something called the Barrett Breakdown, where I just I do interviews once a week. Like I just had Chris on there. This week's episode was Christopher Lawrence. So we just kind of go back and forth and talk about stuff, and it's interesting because you see more and more people trying to talk about jokes. People don't like this joke, probably because it's true, but it's I call YouTube and podcasting the OF for dudes.
Okay.
The reason why is because, unfortunately, we live in the society where women are told, oh, start an OF and you'll be a millionaire and blah, 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 blah. And they all think they are. And then you see these sad stories about these girls that have ruined their lives for like $200 a month. I think most guys in the same vein are like, well, I'm just going to start a podcast. I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to be the next Tim Pool, the next Ben Shapiro. And then 6 months later, they're $5,000 in debt because they got to buy a camera and the computer and all this other kind of stuff. And they got like 150 subscribers. And so it's you got to really you got to have the financing, you got to have the push. And I know they're like, oh, you don't have to be really, you got to have some kind of talent to be very successful at it. And so, I don't know. Is the Tin Man with us? Is that what
I've got a bad chair.
Got a really bad chair.
No, so on that topic, like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely like, I know people who are like, yeah, like all I got to do is start a podcast and it'll be great. It's like, you don't realize, like, or like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put exclusives in there. I'm going to get sponsors and people are going to sponsor my podcast. Like, why would anyone sponsor your podcast? Every podcast that is like, we don't need more of the exact same podcasts out there. Like, they always
diverge into some sort of, like you said, rage bait or politics.
Right. It's because, the easiest thing to do. So people will start out in the Catholic sphere of things. Catholics will start out and they'll be like, hey, I'm going to do a podcast where I'm going to teach people about the rosary or something, right? And it's like, okay, so I'm going to go over, this podcast is the history of the rosary from when it's first started to the luminous mysteries. We're going to go over all the different variations of the rosary. Like, man, that's a great series. And it's like, okay, so then they do their first like 20 episodes on the history of the rosary. Then they run out of the history of the rosary. Then they go into like the rosary as a weapon against the demonic, and they can do a couple things about that. And then they start talking about like issues within the church, and that like tangentially applied to the rosary. And then in the end, it's just right-wing politics or left-wing politics or whatever. Like, it's just a political grandstanding thing where they're just doing the same thing as everybody else. Like, they started off with a great concept, and then when it became hard to continue the concept, they abandoned it, and they want to continue to make content. And so instead of just like retiring from that series, they moved on to just being political commenters. And there are some big names out there that are essentially the same thing, right? They started out with a great idea, right? It's like, I'm just going to invite a bunch of people onto my show, and we're going to talk about Catholic things. And then once the money comes in from sponsors and they're like, we need you to keep growing your thing, it's like, well, now I'm going to talk to political pundits. Okay, now I'm going to do like a news segment aspect of it where I'm going to talk about political issues. And it's slop content, like, but without the AI.
There's people. So like our whole thing is, I mean, we have a social media person, and she was like, just get content. We're like, okay, we'll talk. We had talked about this before. Like, let's just chit chat with people. Like, it's just fun to get to know people from online and like in a personal sphere, because you're so different in person than you are in your posts, right? Like in general. So there are many people that are genuine, but
I don't think I've met a person who is the same as their posts, unless their posts are just like Rosie Gamgee. Rosie she is the same as her posts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Rosie, but like, you meet her in person, she's just anyone who focuses on like joy and the joy of their lives, when you meet them in person, they still focus on joy. But like, people who focus in on like the angry rage baity type stuff,
news, politics.
Yeah, you meet them in person, they're talking about
like, if you talk about literally anything other than politics or news, then they're like a normal person. And so we're like, hey, let's just chat with people. Yeah. And there's like no end to content with that. It's like, how's your life going? What's new? Stuff like that. But then
we're not going to do this forever.
Probably not. But like, if we got people like, say, Michael Knowles, like if we had, because we talked about trying to get Michael Knowles to our festival, and we're like, not to talk politics, not to talk anything, just to play the ukulele. That would be his job.
Right. Or I think if we got Matt Walsh, he plays the banjo, and it's like these like,
maybe they could duel.
Just like the idea of like, well, that's kind of what this is kind of turning into. Is like, there are people that you know from posts. Like, we had Emily Zanotti on last week or the week before.
Last week.
Was it? No, week before last.
Before.
We had Emily Zanotti on the week before last, right? And she's just a perfectly pleasant person. And then there are people who are like, oh no, she's evil because of this interaction I had with her on Twitter. It's like, I'm not sure she is. I'm sure that is just, that you guys had an argument about something dumb, and that's what it is. And like, that's what most of it is like, you have an argument about something dumb. Like you and I could get into an argument about something dumb, but the mature thing to do about it is afterwards be like, yeah, we got into an argument about that dumb thing, but they're still a good person, generally speaking. Like,
social media gives us that platform to like shout our crazy out, regardless of what it is, whether it's like, for me, like health and seed oils, or or somebody else conspiracy theories, or gun control, or whatever it may be. That's what we're throwing out there.
Rick is a huge gun control advocate, so just be careful.
So whatever it may be, we just throw it out there. But when you talk to people in person, what are the chances of bringing up that topic on a regular basis anyway? And you get to know them as a person and all their other interests and their other opinions and desires and how their life is. And you're like, hey, this person is a really good, wholesome person. But online, it's like, hey, this person seems like a total nut job, or they're crazy, or I disagree with them about everything they've ever posted. But if you talk to them in person, there's so much more to them than what they post.
Yeah, well, X is just a trash platform to begin with. It's designed for rage baiting. It's designed not for a conversation, but for anger.
I'm sure you've heard the John Gabriel's internet jerkwad theory. Or if you take a normal person, give them an audience, they turn into a total jerkwad.
Yeah, I haven't heard that specific theory, but it's the theory about fame. Fame does not reveal. It doesn't
change you. It reveals who you are.
The character that you're most comfortable with.
Right.
It gives you space to be your truest self. So yeah, it's the same thing.
I
Just
think
different.
that's funny as a lot of it. I tell Steven this all the time. Like our sketches and stuff, most of them are based on actual things that have happened in our marriage or in our life, or quotes, or we'll be driving down the street, one of us will say something, we're like, that's a tweet. Like right there. So people have no idea. I think that they know so much about our actual lives because it sounds made up, but it's actually what happens on a regular basis. So.
Truth is always the best method of humor.
It is the best method of
Truth
humor.
is the best advocate for humor, because life is just hysterical.
It is,
and God is hilarious.
Humor is the proper understanding of what is and isn't important in life, like what is and isn't serious. That's what humor is. So I'm gonna have to write a book about that, or do a podcast series. Podcast series would be easier, but a book. But a book is timeless. Podcast series, they fizzle out quickly.
Just have AI write it for you. Give it the prompt and let it go.
Not doing it. It's. I have a love-hate relationship with AI. AI is great when you're making jokes and you're like, I need an image of something dumb really quickly. But then there are people who are like legitimately trying to use it to like confuse other people or to pass off work as their own that's not. It's like I have problems with that. I have problems with the way that people are using it. Like our sound bit in the beginning is AI. We actually have a vocal artist who sang a version of it. Now I just need a piano player that can do the piano part, and I'll put them together and use that. But we were getting before I started using
saxophone or something.
Well, before I started using AI stuff, I would like buy songs to put into sketches, and I'd get copyright strikes on me all the time because someone would claim copyright. I'm like, I own the license. I paid for this thing to put in the sketch. So now I just use the AI stuff because I don't have to pay for the license.
Another way you can do that is there's a website called Pixabay, Pixbay, and they have royalty-free songs on there.
Well, no, they are royalty-free sonons that are on there. Like there are royalty-free songs that people are still throwing copyright strikes against.
Because they can put a copyright tracker on them. So on Pixabay, you can get completely, because they'll put a little embedment in there. Because if you go like, I'll use Pixabay as an example. If you type in, I need Christmas music, and it'll give you blank, 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 and then there'll be a shield next to it, and the shield means the author reserves creative control to monitor who uses it on the platform. And then most of the ones I use are all blank because I ain't dealing with that nonsense. But they can do it. Even if you buy the license, some of them put in stuff where they can still reserve the right to do it.
Yeah, so, it got annoying because it'd be I'd put something up and they'd be like, copyright strike. I'd be like, I own the rights to this thing. Like, no, you don't. Like, and then I give them the license and they're like, oh, okay. And then the strike's removed. But then like they'll do it in blocks. So when we did sketches, I had a song. So I did different songs for different types of sketches. So like when Kayla and I were doing a sketch together, we had a song. And then when
music.
Like when Miles and I were doing a sketch together, we had a song. So you could kind of like from the music know the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but we kept getting copyright strikes for the song that I had for Kayla and I. And it's like, but they would like come in all at once and be like, 12 of your videos have been copyright restricted. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I wasn't trying to monetize it. I'm just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, you can remove the music. We have software that just removes the music. Like, but the music sets the scene.
If I didn't want music in there, guess what? I wouldn't have put it in
there. Right.
Thanks.
The music helps music helps to cover up minor issues with audio quality too. So, all that type of stuff.
It does. It can cover up a lot of problems, sore spots.
And you can also have like awkward pauses that don't sound as bad if there's music in the background.
I love awkward pauses. I find that to be some of my funniest moments. Is just when I was a teacher, awkward pauses was my greatest weapon. The kid would say something stupid, and I would just stare at him. Like 10 seconds doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're in a classroom and you're just staring at a kid, and they're like, yeah, it's hysterical. So
What did you teach?
I am still a certified social studies teacher. I've taught everything from U.S. history, world history, economics, U.S. law, government. When I was at a charter school, I taught seventh grade health for a year. And that was a lesson. That was definitely that I had to do. So yeah, I've done all of that kind of stuff.
I do not envy you. Seventh grade health sounds awful.
Awkward.
Oh, it was.
Sounds awkward.
Terrible.
Not just awkward, awful. Like that's the type of thing I wouldn't want to do. All right, we're near the last 5 minutes, so this is the time where I allow. Right, well, we gotta pay our sponsors, which is us, and also you. So I'm gonna give you. This is your soapbox to be able to promote whatever the thing is that you want to promote to our 48 listeners currently.
Folks, if you like anything that I've said or want to listen to more of me on these conversations, the Barrett Breakdown YouTube, Barrett Breakdown. Once a week they drop on Mondays at 6 p.m. Central Time. They can go for any length of time. Like with Chris, I did like an hour and a half. Joe Enders, I had him on for 2 hours. I've had, and so it's really just opportunities. I'm kind of emulating what you guys do. I try not to talk about politics and that much. I just try to just have conversations with people and see what they have to say about stuff. It's more about listening to what they have to say and not listening to me because I talk too much anyway. So I just try to listen to what they have to say. That's really it. I don't have anything. If you want to learn more about like firearms and Catholicism, I have a book, The Armed Catholic: The Catholic Case for Guns and Self-Defense, which you can buy.
That book.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not certain it's on that bookshelf, but I'm pretty sure I bought a copy at one point.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So that's really it. I'm moving away from like really being like heavily involved in the online space. So the only thing, plus I do News from the Pew with Steve Cunningham on Thursday nights. If you really want to hear some wacky takes from the two of us, it's pretty hysterical. So I'm kind of out and about. That's really it. Nothing too much outside of that.
Okay, that's awesome. So we'll do our little spiel here. We've got the Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. I'm gesturing with my mouse that no one can see, but in the upper right hand corner there, you've got the there we go. Vanna White it for us. That's the Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. That'll be available until the end of the year. If you go there and schedule a meeting with them, they will give our little nonprofit $150 that we use towards the festival, which is great. And the St. Philip Neri Festival is another thing that we do. So that is that's this QR code that just popped up. So St. Philip Neri Festival is something that was born out of our desire to have people get together in person. If you don't recall, 5-10 years ago, there would be all these different Catholic conferences and events and stuff like that, and you'd go in there and there'd be a speaker who would tell you how you're doomed and the whole world is going to hell. But then afterwards, and like between speakers, you would meet with everybody and you'd talk and you'd have like this camaraderie of people who went to the same thing, exchange phone numbers, and you talk to people and stuff like that. And after the pandemic, all of those things kind of went online. And so when they went online, you still had the people talking about how everything was terrible, but you didn't have the camaraderie afterwards. And I'm not saying that things aren't bad or whatever. And there is important things that people need to know. But I am also saying that we need to get back together and we need to have conversations. And I know I mentioned to Rick, I don't know if you're actually going to be able to make it, but Rick, you're invited to come to the St. Philip Neri Festival. If you do come to the St. Philip Neri Festival, I believe you're going to help me to purchase a firearm of some kind, because I do not own one, and I shouldn't say that when people might be able to figure out where I live, but I don't. But I have an attack cow. So yeah, we don't really need them because the cow is pretty intimidating. But yeah, so we're just kind of getting people together, and my goal is to get people from all different parts of the Catholic spectrum, if you call it a spectrum. But I don't care. Like, if you are Catholic, I want you to be there. If you're not Catholic and are thinking about being Catholic, I want you to be there. The only thing is that we are unapologetically Catholic at the festival, so don't ask us to be less Catholic. But because
expect all of Catholicism on display.
All of Catholicism on display. Yeah. So all Catholics are welcome. All non-Catholics are also welcome, but just don't cause any problems is what I would say. But CatholicComedy.com/festival for more information. You can scan this QR code that's at the top of your screen. Although if you're on your phone, that's not super helpful because you can't
use your phone to scan your phone.
Even if you've got a bendy phone like I've got a bendy phone, it doesn't bend in that way that you could see your own QR codes.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem. Screenshot.
Yeah, CatholicComedy.com/festival for more information. If you can't make it but want to support us, there's an ability to donate. And also, you got the Notre Dame Federal Credit Union right here. And let's see, I'm going to take this and this. I'm going to put this link because I have I'm working on stuff, and I can add a ticker, and I can just put this this address right here that's popped up on the bottom. So you can go. This is actually really nice. I really like this about this restream thing. But go to this link, go.onesub.com/Leslie Roca. Schedule a financial checkup with her
before the end of the year.
And if you do that, mention Catholic Phoenix, which is our nonprofit that we have, and they will give $150 towards Catholic Phoenix for us to
share
put on
joy.
The festival, to share joy, hope. So yeah, and I'm going to put up these other things at CatholicComedy.com/festival for more information if you are interested, and also feel free to follow us on the Twitters.
I'm funnier, so you should follow me
at Catholic_comedy and at Mrs. Cath Comedy on Twitter. We also have Facebook and the YouTubes, and I believe an Instagram. I will say that the people who run the Instagram, the lady who runs our she's much better at all this stuff than I am. So
fantastic. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, no, she was on our show last week.
She was the last week, yeah.
We brought her on so that she could tell us all the things that we were doing wrong. And she
was so professional about it.
So
we're like, come on, roast us here. And
she's a pro. She's an absolute pro.
Absolute pro. And of course, just, because it's Christmas time, remember to drink more Ovaltine.
That's right. Indeed. That's a good point. Ovaltine is delicious.
Calcium builds strong bones.
So we've got this Q&A one that pops up. So if anyone wants to ask any questions, we'll take like a minute or two. But I don't think there's enough people around in the chat to ask questions. Somebody had prayers for us and our baby, but fantastic. It's also like I can tell here there's like a 30-second delay between what's happening and what's showing up
on Twitter.
On the Twitters. So I'm just gonna just ramble a bit until I see that the Q&A thing pops up. Oh, there it is. So it's popping up now live. So now that's your delay. That's how you can tell what the delay is from here. So going once, going twice. Okay, I have to go drive to the. So I've got to go visit the farm that we're hosting the festival at, and we have a fantastic potential act that's going to come out. But I need to make sure that it will work at the actual farm. So there's a lot of
proper setup.
There's a lot of logistics that need to happen there. But thank you, Rick, very much for coming on. We got to have you on again, and maybe I won't ramble so much, but rambling's kind of my thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I was more of a downer for your joyful podcast. I was like, hey, doesn't social media, isn't it terrible? And isn't it great how everybody's just angry? Yeah, let's talk about that for 45 minutes.
You know what?
Sorry to be the Debbie Downer of the Catholic comedy.
It's important that there's a good contrast. That people are like, they're the Ricks of the world, and there are the Catholic comedies of the world. And so I get it. Just give us money, and don't worry so much about Rick. He's okay. He's got a book. He's fine.
Yeah.
We should be able to have both sides talking.
Well,
and have fun and be friends.
Before I go, there is an important thing that I was talking to. So the rosary that was given to us, the original rosary, luminous or not luminous mysteries in there, but when Mary gave the rosary to Saint Dominic, I'm bad with names. When Mary gave the rosary to Saint Dominic, she divided up into 3 separate categories, right? There's the joyful, there's the sorrowful, and there is the glorious. And Pope John Paul II added the luminous. But what that's saying is that when you're talking about your day, it is important to remember the sorrowful and to give time to the sorrowful, but you should give at least as much time to the joyful and to the glorious and even to the luminous as you do to the sorrowful, right? So if you're feeling down, if you're like everything is terrible, take a moment and make sure that you're only spending, like, if you're going to spend an hour in Gloomtown, spend that hour in Gloomtown, then spend the next 2 hours in Joy Town and Glory Town. Joy and Glory.
The Joy and Glory sandwich.
Right. There's a reason why the sorrowful parts of life are important for us. There are terrible things happening. There are people who need your help that you should focus on and that you should pray for.
It helps you appreciate the joyful more.
But you need to remember the joyful is there and the glorious is there, so that you don't get lost in the sorrow, because Satan's greatest weapon is despair. And so when you look around the world and you see things are bad, do not despair. God has won the battle. There are sorrowful things. You do what you can to fix them. But remember, there's joy and there's hope. It's not just about sadness.
Amen.
So on that note, we shall end this stream. And normally we put a sketch at the end, but I haven't figured out all those yet. And we didn't do a sketch this week. So I think your little lecture. My lecture's the sketch.